Welcome to the MIB podcast, where we help you chase your dreams side by side. And now, your hosts, Mike and Talia Osborne.
Well, top of the morning to ya.
Hey, everybody.
This is Mike.
And Talia.
You are listening to
the MIB podcast.
The Married with Allergies podcast. That's how we're feeling today. And Talia can't even laugh without coughing a little bit.
No, I can't.
It's like a Monday here when we're recording this, and kids are on spring break, so hopefully they'll stay upstairs while we record. What's going on in our life?
We got a whole lot going on. We actually met up with our business partner this weekend, our business partners, and it was a really good meeting. Things are really cooking. We're excited about all the new products we're coming out with. So that's one thing. And what else?
Everybody got over the cold that they had. Now, with the hint of spring coming here in Maine, I'm talking like a very subtle hint, too.
We had like 2 days of like 50-degree weather, and then it snowed the next day.
But with that came allergy season. So if you hear a difference in our voice today, it's not me being super cool like, I'm Thor, God of Thunder. It's literally, I have allergy issues right now like crazy.
Yep, me too.
And
so I sound a little more like a man today.
Yeah, Talia's terrible. She gave it to me. It's her fault. It's usually
I can't give you allergies.
It's usually the wife's fault.
Oh my god.
She kissed me one time, and all of a sudden I'm like, ugh.
So I gave him allergies, just so y'all know.
So a little house cleaning.
So follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MIB podcast. And if you want to send us a message, we'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your success stories. info@themibpodcast.com. If you've ever wondered what we look like or wanted to check out some old episodes, you can always do that on Podbean or Stitcher or iTunes. But if you want to check out our family story, you can go to themibpodcast.com.
Just a reminder, we do need your reviews to be known out there in the world. So we keep looking, and every day, especially on Mondays, we have a massive surge of downloads probably for the week. But no one tells me who they are, and I have no clue who you are. You're just being mean. Give us a review, please.
You're just a faceless number.
But we'd love to hear from you. We'd like to know that maybe you're getting something out of this or what to talk about next. We've done today's episode 20, I think.
Yeah, episode 20 today.
We have plenty of ideas, but we would kind of want to know what you want to hear. So, and if you want to be on the podcast, if you have something that you can offer to the married and business family, we'd love to hear from you as well. So let's go ahead and go real quick, a little more house cleaning. Past episodes. Episode 18 was Married and Buried in Debt.
Yep, that one was pretty awesome. One of my faves because it really just talks about getting over that hump. That one thing that all Americans seem to have in common is debt. And so we want to be the Americans who don't have that in common and can help other people go forward and move forward in their financial life. So check out that episode. Really good tips, really good information. We really want you guys to join us in our journey to becoming debt-free. And it's really not that hard. It's just a few small steps, a little bit at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. So if you're $100,000 in debt, eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's it. All right. So episode 19
was all about married and eBay. So eBay is still a great way to make money. I'm telling you, I've done very little this month with it. I literally put up some listings back a couple weeks ago. We've made something like $500 off stuff we had laying around that it passed the time we could return it to Walmart. So we literally that was how we made money this month with eBay. Very simple. We have a lot of crash course training in that episode on what to look for, what we do in our approach, ways to make it make it into a big building. But first thing is help you make your first $1,000. So check out that episode 19. And as well, check out the MIBpodcast.com. And right there in the middle of the page, you'll see the 3 recordings me and Talia did to help you find different products to sell on eBay and list them like lightning fast.
Booyah. All right, guys. So let's get started on today's episode, Married and Successful Partnerships. Mm-hmm. So as we said, we have a partnership with a couple down in Florida. We love you guys. But we work really hard at that relationship, right? And so we wanted to kind of talk about
how we had the partnership, where it came from, what to look for in a good partnership, things like that. And if you want to get a little recap, check out episode 17, all about private labeling, is when we created the partnership to begin with.
All right. So where are all the best ideas in the world located?
In my brain.
No.
That's actually not true. But.
No. Well, you have some really good ideas. But many of the greatest ideas in the world are located in the graveyard. Why is that? Because so many people go to their deathbeds with the ideas still in their head. They never get it out. They never give it to anyone. They never form the partnerships to make the things happen.
They hoard it because they don't know how to make it happen, how to make it reality. They have an idea. Like, how many times you see a commercial, hey, snap your fingers. That was my idea. Lights come on, that's whatever. That happens to all of us. I mean, I guarantee you, if you watch Shark Tank, the TV show Shark Tank, you've been on there and you've had some type of variation of the idea that one of the guys had.
That's happened to Mike probably like 3 or 4 times.
Oh my gosh. And there are ideas I had years and years and years ago,
But we never had the right partnerships to bring them to life.
Yeah, I didn't know how to bring it to life. Alibaba wasn't the thing back then where I can just go online and get somebody to create a mold and manufacture the item for me in low quantity. It was like, I don't have $100,000 to get a team together to help engineer this idea.
Yeah, but the world has gotten smaller now. So basically you can find, different partnerships. So, too many people go to the grave with the music still in them. And so we want to make sure that you're able to find the right people to be able to help your dreams come to life. So if you have a song that you've had in your head for a long time, maybe you have the words all written out, but you don't have the music to it. You don't know how to do the music. Then that would be something where you were looking for a partnership. And if you had an app and you knew it would change the world, but then you don't know how to code, that's another scenario where you would need a partnership. So if you had the right partnership, your dreams could come to life.
Yeah. So how do you find the right partner? I mean, it isn't that easy, but what we're going to do is we're going to recap a little bit about how we met our partners in business. And maybe hopefully you guys would get something from it, but sometimes it's going to take a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of hard work to get the dots figured out or aligned. So one thing you got to figure out is, who do you know? First thing. Yep. So, who do you know that might know how to do what you can do? So if it's like, I can build, I have this idea for something, an idea, how do I get this modeled and put together and whatever else? Sometimes it's as easy as going online and getting a 3D printer on Fiverr to put it together for you, or Upwork or things like that. And those not necessarily you wouldn't even need the partner for, right?
Yeah.
Really what you're looking for in a partner is expertise in the thing you don't need, that you don't need and you can't have access to just by paying somebody a little bit of money. If you don't want a partnership, go on Upwork, go on Fiverr, go on any of these freelancer type websites. They'll put something together for you, like a prototype or a design or a presentation to sell the product, whatever it is, so that way you don't have to have it. But if you want somebody that you can rely on, like, I know that they have my back, I have theirs, you have to do your homework a little bit. Yeah.
So, Mike said, who do you know? But also, who do they know? So who do your immediate friends and family know that could potentially be a great partner for you? So you kind of have to figure out, exactly what Mike said, what you need. Like, who is your perfect partner? Yeah. So for us, Mike kind of happened to meet his partner. Why don't you tell him about that?
Well, when I was selling advertising in Florida for a couple months, right before me and Ty went full time in our business, and I met my partner, and he was working as a handyman. He owns his own a very successful handyman company, but his background's in real estate and stuff like that, and sales, and a lot of different, very kindred spirits. We have like the same background a lot outside of the real estate, which is something I didn't bring to the table. So we talked about same thing. Shout out to Scott Volker. We talked about the Amazing Seller podcast, about how people are literally diversifying on Amazon, and I coined the phrase, which no one's ever used, just me. This is the new 401k, the new age 401k for people. Literally take your money and put it into building product brands. And he agreed. So he was the first person that I ever gave advice to, he went and listened to the podcast and came back with feedback. So there you go. Somebody actually listens and does what you tell them to do, or, you know,
Values your opinion.
values your opinion or your ideas. So that was how our relationship started, more or less. And I talked to him about his advertising. We talked more like 2 hours about, you know, making money online and private labeling and his journey and in my journey. And, you know, he's one of the people to help me really take the step of being self-employed, because and to that point, that was so scary to even think about it. So that's kind of how we met.
Yep. So, you know, and then of course, Mike brought us all together. So I got to meet his wife, and so we're all good friends now, and we have this great partnership. But, you know, when you get together with a partner, a lot of times, you know, your location is important. So where that person is in the world, are they out of the country? Are they right next door? Is there a way that you guys can be closer in proximity, just to make things easier? Or is it okay for you guys to work at a distance?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that the internet has brought everybody close. You know, you got Skype, you got Zoom, which we're recording on right now. You have all these Facebook Messenger platforms where you can literally be next to each other without it being nowhere near each other. You know, we are in Maine. Our partners are in Daytona Beach, Florida. And you couldn't be too much farther apart outside than being on the West Coast.
For real.
But the good thing is we can use technology to bring us closer. Now, for me and Talia, we probably 99% will be heading back to Florida here in July. Sorry, Virginia family. You won't hear this for a while. But the whole point is we want to be closer to the partners, because we want to be able to literally talk to them, run ideas by each other, make moves quickly without having any delay. And that's kind of why we feel like that would work better, right?
Right.
And then when we do we have products, ideas, partnerships. You can feel it, touch it, talk about it. That's our plan. So, I mean, just look back at if you ever seen the movie The Social Network, or even heard Mark Zuckerberg's story, you know that most of his original partners all were in his dorm room, right? So he didn't have to look very far to find the expertise that he needed. Luckily, good for him, pat him on the back. But literally, he started Facebook in the Facebook in his dorm room, right? And literally, he came out. He met a few guys. I don't know, Moskowitz. I don't remember the names, but those guys literally were like almost billionaires. They couldn't legally rent a car.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, but literally, what a good partnership to know. And all he did was gave him equity. They didn't know that there'd be any value in the company whatsoever, but they believed in the idea. They believed in Mark, and they literally went out and created a company with no pay, with no nothing, in return. And that type of things I think that you should do right up front. Create a company with somebody that is going to get their hands dirty, figuratively speaking, get out there and get stuff going and moving, but you need to have the same intensity they have. You have to match each other's work ethic.
Yeah.
You have to match each other's value. So if you bring the sales to the table, because there's nothing stronger than a very strong salesman. You'll never be broke in your life if you can sell. Right? But you can be very broke if you're a great coder and you're scared to talk to people, an introvert, right?
Right.
That's where a perfect marriage or partnership would come together because of that, where this person can do all the tech stuff and explain it to you so you can explain it to the people that are buying your product, selling the product, marketing your product, whatever.
So Mike's already kind of touched on it. We were kind of going into what qualities should you look for in a partnership. So one thing that you should really look for, and it's the major thing, is trust. Can you trust that person? Now, for some people, trust comes over time. Some people immediately trust you until you prove them otherwise. So that's kind of a personal thing, but trust is a major issue, because once the trust starts to fall away, then huge issues can come up in a partnership. And so it's really important, like we did with Rick and Lorraine, we needed to be able to write those things out as far as what's important, what happens if it should fall apart. We want to each have an exit strategy. So work ethic was something Mike mentioned. You want to make sure that you guys match up when it comes to work ethic. Whatever that job description is for you and for your partner or partners, you want to make sure that everybody's doing their part. Right. So
just talk about each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? What do you bring to the table? Creating a balanced partnership. That's very important. Like we were just talking about, was make sure that, what do I bring to the table? What does Talia bring to the table? Our creativity, our know-how, our ability to be able to do a lot of things very quickly, create very nice Amazon listings that sell, be able to, knowing that we've sold 50,000 plus units, different SKUs on Amazon, we have a lot of know-how. We know what's selling. Obviously, because we've sold a ton of stuff over the last few years. Knowing the ins and outs of Amazon's another thing, but also knowing that diversification is the key. Being able to produce sales on a different platform, being able to outsource things that we don't know or don't want to do or are not efficient, right? So there's a lot of things that we know how to do that they aren't as familiar with. But what Rick and Lorraine bring to the table is they literally have more business experience, right? So he's a couple years older than me. So he's got, but either way, he's got a great amount of knowledge that stuff and sales ideas and things that I, couldn't even think of because it was a little bit before my generation.
They also have more knowledge about the back end stuff. So legal stuff,
legal stuff,
becoming an LLC, things like that. So things that we're not technically aware of, we could certainly get educated on, but that's their side of the coin. That's what they bring to the table.
And and they're really good. Well, they're both very good. They understand real estate and getting, money, like the We Buy Ugly House stuff. They're extremely talented at doing that, getting houses and things like that and creating different rental empires. And that's a point of diversification that me and Talia want to get into, but to get your knowledge up and understand all the rules and intricacies of doing that is extremely time consuming, especially when you're trying to do this. So that's where they come in. They're going to help us from now on. Me and our partner is going to have almost like a non-compete against each other, where if I come up with a great idea, I'm going to bring it directly to them and we're going to talk about moving forward with it because we trust each other that much. Right. We want each other to succeed long-term way throughout the future.
And so that brings us to the next point, which is goals. So we have a common goal in mind. So that makes it easy for us to partner on all these things. So because we understand where we are going and that we want to go there together. So we've kind of laid out a plan and it makes it easier for us to get to our goals.
Yeah. And they're looking out for our well-being and they know what we have, we have 4 kids and everything. So that's something to care about each other obviously is a big thing. There's people out there that have just business partners, investors, angel investors, but they quote unquote partnership, but really all they are is a bank, right?
Right.
Hopefully, if you got a shark like a Mark Cuban or one of those guys, they add tons of value, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But also they got 200 businesses they have to run. So, you can only get their access so much. Mm-hmm. So creating a partnership with somebody that actually has all the know-how, the things that you need to diversify or to do whatever, build a big company or build a long-term strategy or just the wisdom in general, that's the type of things that we look for. When you're doing a big project, a lot of people are, and Gary Vee would tell you just get the heck out of his face if you show him this, but an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. The whole point of this is I got a great idea for this toy. It's going to blow away Mattel and, Parker Brothers, whatever. And before I show it to you, I need you to sign this non-disclosure agreement. Don't go out there and steal my idea and sell blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. A lot of people will say, walk away, whatever. If you're taking it to a company, they would say, yeah, that's fine. They'll do it real quick. But some people that, especially if you're looking for a celebrity or whatever, they're going to tell you to take a hike. Like, I don't feel like hearing this. It takes too much time to even sign a non-disclosure agreement to blah, blah, blah. But if you want to take it, I think there's plenty of templates online. Go build a non-disclosure agreement. Don't let someone else take your idea. If it's going to be somebody like me and you, regular people. But just know that the big wigs are probably going to say no. Another great idea that I'm hoping one day I can get this guy on the podcast. So if you're listening, Stephen Key, come on the podcast. Stephen Key he teaches a course on licensing and getting your idea out there to the masses using your idea, a simple patent, PPA, patent pending application, right? And you have 1 year to go out there and sell your idea to a major company, let them produce it. Then you would get a licensing agreement from it. You'd make so much money probably up front, a guarantee that hopefully they created in so many years, and you'll get a certain percentage check from every sale that you make on that idea.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, the whole thing is basically they do all the work. You came up with the idea and you sell it. So Stephen Key has a great thing talking about that. He has a great book called One Simple Idea that I recommend for everybody. But I'm hoping one day we'll have an episode on that with him on the podcast.
Stephen, please email us.
Very cool. I've heard him a few different times about different things, and he's fantastic.
All right. So what do you do when things go wrong? And things will go wrong, and it goes back to that trust issue. If things go wrong, do you still trust your partner enough to stay in the partnership? If things go wrong, is it a question of character? Is it a question of just a mistake that you can get around? So you have to be willing and understanding about whatever the issue is. But if you lose that trust, most likely the partnership is going to dissolve. So when you're deciding on a partnership, you guys need to be upfront, open, honest, and have an agreement with an exit strategy of how you're going to split up the business. Are you going to split equity? Are you going to do a buyout? Are you going to get kicked out? Are you doing the work and your partner hasn't done anything in months? So these are all things for you to consider and think about.
So absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point. You have to make sure that you guys are on the same page. We're not talking about people just being jerks or whatever. We're talking like, maybe I die. I get hit by a bus tomorrow.
No.
Right? Yeah. And that could happen, right? I'll look before I cross the road. I can't miss a bus. But if I get hit by a bus tomorrow and they realize Talia is the most unpleasant person on the planet, I don't want to be in business with them. I want to be in business with Mike because he's a genius. That's the whole point. So they, maybe that's why, things go wrong. It doesn't have to be somebody's cheating the company and they put all the money in the Cayman Islands. It's literally things happen where they're like, I wanted to work with Mike. He's no longer here. And no, I don't want to be a partner with you anymore. For me, I've said this several times. I want to build a brand that I can sell. I mean, that's why I'm really passionate about creating brands and products that complement each other, not just, okay, here's a hair dryer and here is a guitar pick. And, oh, yeah, this lighting is really cool. And, oh, yeah, they don't match, right?
Right.
But if you create a brand together, it's something that you can create an audience around and an email list around and, a big Instagram following, a Facebook following, whatever it is. And all of a sudden you put that all together and you have a very powerful tool that you can sell, a very powerful company, a full-on real company with audience to prove it. So that's another reason for, having your, eggs in a basket, knowing where your agreement stands when it comes to that stuff. Some people might want the cash flow. For me, I want to put it in the bank and let, equity, mutual funds and things like that create the cash flow. Why? I'm still building companies outside that. So it's not like I'm ditching. I'm going to go sit on a beach somewhere. No, I just want to make sure that no matter what, when we're old and the kids take all of our money from college and all that, we're still rich. I mean, I can live our life together the way we want to go. So.
Yep. So, if you don't produce, you get out. If you don't work, you don't get paid. So these are all things to consider. So we've covered a lot.
Well, how about milestones? I mean, you have to set up a timeline with like milestones to hit. I mean, that's the whole point. There's nothing worse than saying, here, I have an app idea, right? I have a software idea. And it needs to be launched before this date because our sales strategy is we're going to push it to this person around this time.
Right.
And this makes sense. If not, we're going to be old. Whatever. Technology could go old or whatever. They have to hit the milestones. If they're literally trying, their family gets hit by a bus.
Oh,
they
gosh,
can't. Everybody hit by a bus. Something happens where they can't produce. That's understandable. But most cases that doesn't happen. You just need to make sure that they say, I'm going to produce this and this is going to happen. And literally you have to move forward with that plan. If you have a plan of action, it has to be acted upon. It has to be something that you're going to attain, right? So you can't say, we're going to launch this in this time, and that way we're going to get in front of these people in our strategy, and then the person that is supposed to do the sales and building the pipeline of people that are going to be in it, involved, they don't do their job. Right. Or the coder doesn't do anything, or vice versa. So make sure that you just have stuff set up where, like our partnership, we know like we want to start launching products by the end of May, right? And not one, like several, like a shotgun approach. And we have to get that done, right? And we know that it's going to take time for the product to be produced, private labeled, different logos put on, all the stuff. We know all this in advance. So we know that we have to get it done at a certain time.
Yep. So everything we've covered has given you tips and clues and tools to be able to move forward in a partnership. But, you always want to do your research. So make sure you go on Google things you need in a partnership, things like that. So do your research, get educated. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Long term, there's a lot of people that can do a lot of things out there that will fix your problem that you have. But just remember that you really need to be friends with whoever you're a partner with. You guys need to like or, him, her, whatever, you guys have to have a, like a brotherly type of love for each other that that you have each other's back.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it. I think so.
So if you haven't done it yet, please, please, please follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MIB podcast. And send us an email with your success. And if you know anybody that you think might be a good fit for us to interview, we would love to hear from you about that. info@themibpodcast.com.
Yeah, thank you guys. Make sure you hit that button for subscribing to our podcast, which is what I think is happening on Mondays, because it keeps surging. And then leave a review. We really would love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear what you want to hear about. The truth is, me and Talia have a lot of experience at a lot of things. Like, we are literally like a jack of trades. I had way over 400 different clients that I work for in advertising, so I know a little bit about everything. So if you have a different type of company, maybe even offline, hey, maybe we'll do a podcast on it. But won't know until you leave us an email or leave us a review.
All right, guys. So enjoy your day. Go find the perfect partner and get some stuff done.
Do it. Peace. Have a good day.